All right, let's talk about something that can be, well, pretty confusing. You know that feeling when you're in a relationship and you think you're doing everything right, but somehow it all starts to fall apart? Today, we're diving into the source material behind something called the masculine blueprint to figure out what's really going on.
I mean, we've all seen this movie before, right? Maybe you've even been in it. The relationship seems absolutely perfect. And then, poof, the spark is just gone. Like it vanishes into thin air. So, what is happening here? What's the real story?
So, the source material lays out this really common scenario. You decide to be the perfect partner, the nice guy. You're available 24/7. Your hobbies, yeah, they take a back seat. Pretty soon, your entire world starts to revolve around her. You've made her the sun, and you're just a planet in her orbit. And then what happens? The whole thing just fizzles. The spark is completely gone. And you're left scratching your head thinking, wait a minute, that makes zero sense. You played by all the rules they tell you to play by, but you still somehow lost the game. Naturally, our minds jump to the easy answers, don't they? Oh, it must be some other guy who's better looking or richer. But the source we're looking at says, nope, that's just a distraction. The real trigger, it's psychological. And it's this. The man she fell for in the first place, he's gone. And you're the one who replaced him. Okay, so let's put on our detective hats and unpack this thing. We're going to look at some key clues from the source that explain exactly why that spark disappears. All right, clue number 1. The source calls this the death of polarity. And trust me, once you get this concept, a lot of other things are going to start clicking into place. The easiest way to think about this is like a battery. You've got a positive and a negative terminal, right? Well, according to the source, attraction needs that same kind of polarity. You have this masculine energy, described as strong, decisive, kind of like a steady anchor. And then you have the feminine energy, more nurturing, intuitive, flowing. The attraction, that spark, that's the electricity that flows between those two very different poles. No difference, no spark. So, what happens when that polarity just collapses? When you basically kill the battery? Well, the source uses a pretty blunt term for this. The man becomes a man-child. He gets emotionally needy, he can't make a decision, and he's totally reliant on her for his own emotional balance. And this completely changes the dynamic. She's no longer his partner, she's now his mother. And let's be honest, the source puts it perfectly. Nobody wants to be in a romantic relationship with someone they have to parent. Okay, on to clue number 2. And this one's a biggie. It's called the purpose trap, and it's all about your personal mission. Now, get ready, because this next idea is going to sound kind of crazy. It goes against almost everything we're usually told about relationships. The source argues that a man's highest priority has to be his purpose, his mission, not his relationship. I know, it sounds harsh, but let's dig into why they say that. This really breaks down the whole process. Think about it. At the start, she was drawn to the warrior, a guy who was driven, had his own goals, his own life. But then, somewhere along the way, he makes the relationship his only goal. He drops his own mission, and in doing so, he goes from being a leader to a follower. He literally loses the exact quality that made him so attractive to begin with. And the source is crystal clear on this. If the respect is gone, the attraction isn't far behind. All right, time for our third and final clue. This one's a real mind bender. It's called the protector paradox, and it's all about a weird quirk in how we see strength. So this really comes down to having a backbone, having boundaries. The source suggests that when a woman figures out she can easily make a guy do whatever she wants, make him drop his own plans, change his mind on a dime, a little question starts bubbling up in the back of her mind, maybe without her even realizing it. And this is where the paradox kicks in. By trying so hard to please her, by being so agreeable and compliant, he actually makes her feel less secure. That little subconscious voice is basically asking, okay, if I can push him around this easily, what's going to happen when the world pushes back? How is he supposed to protect me or us from real challenges if he can't even stand his ground with me? Suddenly, his strength just doesn't seem real anymore. So, there you have it. The clues are on the table. The death of polarity, the lost purpose, and this protector paradox. So now what? Well, let's put all the pieces of the puzzle together and look at the solution the source offers up. the masculine blueprint.
And at the very heart of this blueprint is the idea of reclaiming something the Source calls a kind of lost superpower.
And what is this superpower? It's the power of walking away. Now hold on, this is not what it sounds like. This isn't about threatening to leave or playing games, not at all. It's about having such a strong sense of your own self-respect, your own values, that you are genuinely willing to walk away from any situation that asks you to compromise who you are. It's the ultimate personal boundary.
So let's break down what this blueprint actually looks like in practice. First up, own your purpose. You have to have a mission, something in your life that's bigger than just the relationship. It's your North Star. Second, lead with discipline. This means you have self-control. You're the steady hand on the wheel, not getting tossed around by every little emotional wave. Third, maintain your strength. We're talking emotionally solid, physically grounded. And finally, when you do all of this, you naturally step into that role of a decisive leader, which the Source argues is a fundamental need in the dynamic.
And the whole theory behind this is that it's a two-way street. The Source talks about it like an exchange of gifts. When you provide the masculine gift, that's the strength, the purpose, the direction, it creates the space for the feminine gift of nurturing and trust to be given in return. It's not about forcing anything. It's about getting that polarity working again. Recharging the battery. And that really brings us full circle, because at the end of the day, the Source turns the spotlight right back around, onto you. And listen, this isn't about pointing fingers or laying blame. It's just about being aware. So we're left with this one last, pretty heavy question from the source material. It's this: are you leading your relationship, or are you just following hers? Are you the one steering your own ship with a clear destination, bringing her along for an incredible journey? Or have you just handed over the wheel, and now you're both just drifting, wondering why the fire is out?